Brock Page here. Random sports picks for fun. We have the conference championships. We're going to start with the Big Ten championship. Ohio State taking on Wisconsin at Lucas Oil in Indy. We got ourselves an 8 o'clock Eastern start this Saturday. The betting opened up with the Buckeyes as the 6.5-point favorites and the total at 53.5. Since the markets opened this one up, though, we've seen steady movement toward the Wisconsin Badgers in this one. Right now, Ohio State's laying just 6 points against the spread, with the total moving slightly downward to an even 53. Currently, the Buckeyes are 265 to win this one outright. And at the moment, the Wisconsin Badgers are taking nearly 70% of the public money. So if you're liking them plus the points, start booking those wagers ASAP. Wisconsin bettors are going to want all the points they can get. They're facing an Ohio State team who's 3-2 covering away from home. In addition to that, Ohio State's also 3-2 covering as the official road favorite. And following a debilitating loss to Iowa, the Buckeyes have bounced back with 3 straight wins to finish the regular season. They've got themselves a Wisconsin team who's failed to cover over the likes of Illinois, Purdue, Northwestern, and Florida Atlantic. This Saturday's matchup will also be the very first time Wisconsin has opened up as the official Vegas underdog. Now, scoring-wise, we've seen a good amount of overs in both teams' matchups as of late. 2 of Wisconsin's previous 3 games have gone over the line before last week's win at Minnesota. The Badgers averaged 42 points a game in those 2 overs as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, very similar story for the Buckeyes, as Ohio State games went 3-1 to the over in their last 4 and 8-1 to the overs in their last 9. All said and done, the case for over bettors can certainly be made. As for me, though, I'm not so concerned with the total as I am with selecting a winner in this one. I'd hate to give up 6.5 to Wisconsin, but I'm not so sure the Badgers can cover that number. All told, though, I think the Buckeyes are going to pull it out, and I don't want to miss out on any of that action. That said, I'm going to forego a play on the spread and take the Ohio State Buckeyes minus 265, winning this one outright for some expensive moneyline cash. Next game, ACC Championship, the Miami Hurricanes versus the Clemson Tigers. 8 o'clock Eastern start this Saturday at Bank of America Stadium. I'm sure a lot of Clemson fans will make the trip to Charlotte. Tons of movement on the spread in this one. Clemson opened up the betting as the 6.5-point favorites and the total at an even 48. Since the betting opened up, all of the early action came in on the Tigers. The markets opened this one up way too low. We've seen this one move 3 whole points on the spread. Clemson's now laying 9.5, with the total moving slightly downward to 47.5 points. Currently, the Tigers are 370 to win this one outright. And at the moment, the Miami Hurricanes are taking just about 50% of the public action. So don't look for that spread to move another 3 points anytime soon. But if you're liking Miami to cover in this one, the public money certainly did you a favor moving those lines. This Hurricane squad has been a pretty lackluster team against the number all year round. Miami's covered 5 of 10 overall and 2 of 4 away from home. The Canes are also 0-2 against the spread in their last 2. Miami's going up against a Clemson squad who's been pretty good against the number as of late, covering 3 of their last 4. Clemson's also got marquee covers over the likes of Virginia Tech, Louisville, and Auburn. Clemson against the spread, 7-4 overall, 3-2 away from home, and 7-4 laying the points. Even more impressive, the Tigers covered 5 of 6 games versus teams allowing less than 25 points per contest. Now, scoring-wise, we've seen a good amount of defense in both teams' games. Miami games are 3-1 to the under in their last 4 and 8-1 to the unders in their last 9. Meanwhile, on the other side, same song and dance as Clemson games went 3-1 to the unders in their last 4 and 7-1 to the unders in their last 8 themselves. It's certainly no wonder we saw the early action move this total downwards in the early going. All that in mind, though, I'm going to forego a play on the total and the money line in this one. That said, I'm going to buy the hook in this one and take the Clemson Tigers minus 9, getting the job done against the spread. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Stanford catching 3.5 against USC with the total at an even 59. We have ourselves an 8 o'clock Eastern start this Friday in this unique Pac-12 championship game at Levi's Stadium. Currently, USC is $1.55 to win this one outright, and at the moment, Stanford's taking just 29% of the public money, so look for them to be catching a few more points sometime in the very near future. And if you like the Cardinal in this spot here, the more points you get, the better, because these guys have covered a whole lot better than USC. Right now, the Trojans have covered just 3 of 12 games overall this season. They've also covered a measly 1 of 5 on the road and just 3 of 11 as the official Vegas favorite. They're going up against a Stanford team who's 2-1 covering as the official Vegas underdog. Stanford's also won their last 3 straight, successfully covering 2 of those 3. Now, scoring-wise, good amount of unders between these two squads. USC's 2-0 to the under in their last pair of games. Stanford 2-1 to the unders in their previous 3 themselves before last week's action against Notre Dame. The Cardinal held their opponents to 17 points per game on average in those 2 unders. All told, I'm going to buy it up and take the Stanford Cardinal +4 with USC winning this one outright and the under 59 points. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Big 12 Championship. TCU taking on Oklahoma for a 12:30 Eastern start this Saturday at Jerry World. Oklahoma opened this one up as the 6.5-point favorites and the total at 61.5. Since the betting opened up, though, we've seen a good amount of that early money come pouring in on the Sooners and the over. Right now, the public money's moved those lines up to Oklahoma -7, with the total moving upward to an even 64. Currently, the Sooners are the $2.75 favorites to win this one outright. And at the moment, TCU's taking just 30% of the public action. So look for them to be catching another half a point or so very shortly. And if you're leaning toward the Horned Frogs in this one, you're going to need all the help you can get from your odds maker. They're going up against an Oklahoma team who's 7-5 against the spread overall and 3-0 covering against teams over 700. In addition to all that, Oklahoma's going 4-2 ATS against teams allowing less than 25 points a game. And most recently, the Sooners have won their last 7 straight, covering 4 of their last 5 in the process. Now, for those who caught it the first time around, the Sooners successfully covered the spread in their first matchup with TCU, beating them by 3 scores. Now, total-wise, we once again saw a 2.5-point move of the line upward to an even 64 points. But contrary to where the money's going, we've seen a good amount of unders out of both of these programs. 2 out of Oklahoma's previous 3 matchups have gone under the closing number. They gave up just 11 points of scoring on average in those 2 unders. Meanwhile, on the other side, very similar story as TCU games went 6-0 to the unders in their previous 6 before last week's action with Baylor. And for the exception of the original Oklahoma game, TCU held their opponents to just 8 points per contest in their last 6. I realize the public's pounding the over in this one, but I just can't get on board with it. All that in mind, I'm not real concerned with the spread, although the numbers favor the Sooners here. I do like a real sharp play here on the total, though, and I'll back it up with a small money line play just to hedge a little. All told, I like the Sooners winning this one outright for some expensive money line cash, along with the under 64 points in this one. Next game I have for you, it is going to be the SEC Championship. Georgia takes on Auburn at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Essentially a home game for these Georgia Bulldogs. We got ourselves a 4 o'clock Eastern kickoff this Saturday. The betting in this one opened up with the Auburn Tigers as the 1.5-point favorites and the total at 51. Since the betting opened up, though, most of that early money's come pouring in on Auburn to get the job done against the number. We've also seen a significant amount of money move the total downward. Right now, Auburn's laying 2.5 with the total now at an even 49. Currently, the Tigers are $1.35 to win this one outright. And at the moment, Georgia's taking just 39% of Johnny Public's hard-earned cash. So look for them to catch another half a point or so very soon. And if you find yourself backing the Bulldogs in this one, you're going to need as much help as you can get. These Georgia Bulldogs have covered just 2 of 4 games against teams over 700. They've also struggled terribly against the number as of late, failing to cover 3 of their last 4 contests. In addition to all that, Georgia failed to successfully cover the spread in their first meeting with Auburn. They lost that one 40-17 away from home. They're going up against an Auburn team who's playing at an incredibly high level as of late, winning their last 5 games outright. They've also successfully covered 2 of their last 3 and 3 of their last 5. This Auburn team has also gone 2-1 covering against teams over 700, and they've also fared quite well against good defenses, going 3-2 against the number against teams giving up less than 25 points per contest. Now, scoring-wise, Auburn games went 2-1 to the under in their last 3, but Georgia games went 2-1 to the overs in their last 3 themselves. All said and done, I'm not looking to make a play on the total, although their first meeting went well over the total of 48 points. What I will do, though, is make a play on an outright winner. All told, I like the Auburn Tigers minus $1.35 winning this one outright for some cold hard money line cash. All right, next game I have for you. Just kidding. That was the last game. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.